Hey there, do you know how to edit a recorded macro using a VBA inside of MS Excel? If not, then this video is absolutely for you. Do watch it without the fail. In this video, we are going to learn how we can jump into the Visual Basic interface of Excel macro and understand and perform the edits. I'll take you through the complete steps to make a clear understanding of Excel VBA interface, that too from scratch. And all this has been done using a very simple data which will be very easy to recreate and understand. You can easily get this exercise file downloaded in your system using the link provided in the description of this video. So go ahead, watch this complete video, practice this concept in the exercise file provided to you and become the master of it. Hello everyone, welcome back to this Microsoft Excel tutorial journey with me on my Knowledge Factor YouTube channel. This is session number 156 and we are learning the Microsoft Excel macros and VBA tool in detail. Now, the macro recorder is great. We saw just how quickly you can record a series of commands such as formatting and entering data, and then you could turn around and rerun that recording, that macro, and have it perform those same steps again and again, right? Now, it's great, but what if you make a mistake during the recording? Maybe I misspelled something, right? Like expense. I'm pretty sure I spelled that right, but maybe I wanted to say expense or expense type, right? The type of expense or something different. Or maybe now I want it to be full months rather than the abbreviated here, right? So just full January, February and March, whatever it might be. Or I want to include the year inside there, January 2022 and whatever. I need to make an edit to the macro. Well, how do we do that? Either you have to re-record the macro or you can go ahead and edit the macro in the existing recorded file, right? So well, here we are going to get our first peek at Excel VBA, Visual Basic of Applications. Now this Visual Basic is going to take us into the recording where Excel wrote down everything that you recorded. Literally, we are just going to see a bunch of text, essentially commands that we performed while we were recording this, and we can make edits to that VBA. So we'll jump in there and we will take a look at how we can make these edits. So I'm still on the same workbook, the run with macro worksheet. Really doesn't matter which worksheet you are in, but make sure you have your example file open and you have recorded your macro. So now to see the VBA, I'm going to go to my developer tab and back into the code section that we have referenced earlier. There's an option for the Visual Basic, so I'll give that a click. So this is going to open up a VBA window. So this is the full screen to have a complete view. Now yours might look a little bit different. You may not have these immediate window. I'll just close that. Got it? Great. So you can leave it, but you may not have it, right? So I have got the VBA project window open. You may also have the property panel down below. You may have things open, or maybe you don't have them open. Maybe I'll close this as well. Maybe your window looks something like this, just a big gray box. Maybe I can close this as well and it's just a big gray box for you, right? So whatever the case, you can go up to your view tab top of the screen, and we want to make sure that we have the project explorer open. Now inside of here you have also got the immediate window, that's what I closed earlier, and some of you might have the properties window open as well. So here is my properties window, but make sure you have at least the project panel, the project window open. I'll just open this properties window as well. If you want, you can open the immediate window. I don't want it, so I'll close it. Now the only thing you got there is the VBA project for your active workbook, inserting and formatting text. Now I want to make sure that I have expanded this little collapse and maximize, plus sign and minus sign, and inside there we have a folder called modules. So make sure that this is also expanded, and we have got a single module in there. So now modules, all this is, it's just a term for where you are going to store or where your macros are stored. So I'm going to give the module 3 a double click. So this will open up that module, and here is my macro or sub procedure of VBA. Now you can see it's just a bunch of text, but this is where the Excel wrote down all the notes about what you did as you were recording. So you can see here the first line, it's a sub procedure. Well, we'll talk more about that distinction later on. And then you got the name of your macro there, insert and format. And then down below you have got all the commands and the Excel recorded as you were going through the recording process. So the first few lines, they are green lines, right? They all start with a single apostrophe, and these are the comments. These are not the commands. They don't do anything for the macro. They don't do anything when you run it, right? They just are there to give you some information. They are just there for us to read, right? They are the descriptive notes. They are comments left behind by us to help remind us what the macro does and so on. So you can see here that I have got my keyboard shortcut as well, just reminding us that hey, Control L was your shortcut key, and then down below I have got all the commands. Now if you scroll through this, yours might look a little bit different than mine, or it could look exactly the same, right? Good job for that if it's looking exactly the same, but probably looks little bit different just depending on what steps you took as you were recording, right? So you can see my first line here, it did range A3. So we will talk more about the range objects as we continue through the portion of this course all about the VBA, right? So you can see here that it's essentially getting cell A3 or range A3 dot, and then it's selecting it. So we have got this object, and in this case a cell range A3 dot. The dot then gives us access to what we can do with that object or with that element. So in this case, get the cell A3, range A3, and then what do? You select it. Okay. So just two little parts there in this line. So two things. What are you working with, right? What's the object? What's the element? And then what are you going to do with that object, with that element? So here's the object dot selected, range A3, select it. And then the next thing is an active cell. Well, what's the active cell? The active cell right above it's A3, right? Whatever we selected above. So active cell dot formula R1C1. So this is a fancy way of essentially saying the value of that cell, and then we are going to make it equal to region. So you can scroll through here and you can glance through it, kind of pick it apart. Some of it you are going to, oh yeah, I know exactly what that does, right? Some of it might be a little more abstract. Like I said, we are going to talk about all of this as we continue through this portion of the course. But here we can make edits. As I mentioned earlier, maybe instead of expense, I want to be call it as expense type, right? Okay, cool, or expense or whatever, right? And I can make the adjustment. You misspell something, you can edit it right here. Let's see, I can keep looking through. I got a lot of formatting stuff going on here, changing the font, changing the background colors and so on. So here, let's see what's happening. We got the range, object range, and then it's going to specify a specific set of cells or a specific range. So here we are saying cell C4 to F17, and then what we are doing, we are selecting it, and then what's happening next? The very next line there right here, it's formatting that range of cells. Now, do you see a problem with that? So here, if you remember, we have selected cell C4 to F17 and we have formatted that in the currency format, right? But I see one problem there. Do you see that problem? Is our data always going to be C4 to F17? Getting me? So if I get back out of here for a moment, so what if my data when I recorded it was just till C4 to F17, but then later on maybe I got the north record, another region, which is C4 down to, let's say, F200, right? Well, our macro, it specifically calls out that range of cells C4 to F17, so it will always do that group of cells. So let's take a look. I'm just going to clear this off. You could try this out, or if you would like to, or you can just sit back and watch me kill it here. I'll just clear the formats, and just for the fun, right? So I'm going to grab a few more rows here. Let's say I'll just copy this and I'll paste it at the bottom. So like I mentioned, you could try this out with me, you could try it out on your own, or you can just sit back and watch what happens here. Like I mentioned earlier, the macro recorder is great, right? Love it. It's going to save you so much time. And now the ability to make edits to the macro, such as changing the header, deleting perhaps stuff you didn't need, maybe changing some of the formatting, you could do it all right here. But macro recorder can be quite literal, and we are formatting just the area right here. So what's about large data sets, right? What's going to happen? So well, if I come out here and I'm going to hit one of my little button here, done. Sort of done. Well, I have got my headers there. Look at that expense type, just got updated from expense to expense type, which I edited, right? But I look down here and it's still just this range of cells C4 to F17. It completely ignored, right, the below cells, right? So I could, if I get that window back here, I could go in and say, well, now it's C4 to F17. Now it's all the way down to F23. If you see here, it's F23, right? So I can go back here and I can change here and say no, it's not from F17. I mean, if it's not till F17, but it's till F23. And now if I just rerun, I'm not going to clear it like I did before. Whew, it done, right? And it's now got the formatting all the way down. Very cool. So I can make the edits there, but if I want to make it more dynamic, let me jump over it here again. So if I want to make it little more dynamic, right, I want to make an edit in such a way that it knows, right, it knows how big the data is. Then there is bit more editing, and that's something we are going to get into, right? As we continue through this course, we'll see how to make edits here, and this will become more familiar and understandable as we continue through the next few sections of the course. So try this out, make an edit, whatever that is, right? You can adjust one of the headers, you can adjust the range there, whatever you feel like you want to, try it out there. But try something out, right? Get a feel for the VBA, the Visual Basic Application window, and looking at the code, right? All right, so jump in there, get ready for some exciting moments up ahead, what you can do, what you cannot in the VBA of your Excel macros. So hope you like this video, hope you like the introduction on how we can read the codes written in the Visual Basic behind your macro, right? So thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and as I always say, if you really like this video and enjoying this journey, then please do like, share and subscribe my channel, and also press the bell icon to get the latest content update on this channel. Alright, then we'll meet up in the next session. In case you have any questions, any concerns, then do let me know in the comment section of this video. So see you in the next session. Till then, stay safe, have a great life, and take very good care of yourself.